Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Handsome Eggman's newest video. Today I'm going to be commenting on some of my followers' appearance. Starting off, we are going to be looking at this guy. He reached out to me by himself at first. So shout out to him. This is the conversation. Bro, can you rate me? Yes, for sure. Alright, let's rate him. So this is a video. Before I click into the video, I can say that his face is pretty defined. You can see pretty clear line around his jawline area, right? But it's not entirely angular. I think his masseter muscle region can be more bulging outward so that his face can look more like a square shape, which allows him to look, in my opinion, stronger and more attractive. Right now it's a little underdeveloped looking. Not to say that his face is underdeveloped. I think this right here is a pretty solid face. But yeah, just want to kind of tell you guys how I feel. This face right here can be optimized in terms of the wideness, in terms of the widths. But aside from that, he looks pretty clean shaven, pretty nice looking beard area. And let's take a look at his eye area in the video. Alright. Does he actually look like this, or he's just making an expression? Let's play the video. Okay, nice. I'd say he looks kind of pretty here. He kind of has a prey eye, but it's not very detrimental in my opinion. He kind of has a unique phenotype, and he seems to have pretty thick hair. Yeah, his eyebrows are undeniably thick. Hairstyle, I don't know how much hair he has, but it seems to be some pretty solid hairstyle. Like, it doesn't seem like he's having hair loss. So overall, he looks pretty nice. Yeah, he definitely looks pretty healthy and optimized, to be honest. Maybe he can do something to optimize his eye area a little more. Right now, he seems to be a little not entirely alerted and aware. So maybe he can try to optimize his sleep and try to find his goals. What are his purposes? And maybe by doing that, his eye area can look more alert, for lack of a better word. Yeah, but right now, let's give him a rating. All right. It seems like he takes care of. It seems like he takes care of himself. I can't speak English, fuck. Yeah, he seemed to be pretty well groomed. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10, probably. Or 6.5 out of 10. But he is wearing AirPods, and it's not very accepted in the wellness community, right? So maybe I have to give him a little minus. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Am I being too harsh? But to say that he's a 7 is a bit of a stretch, right? Because to say that someone is a 7, you need to be very like attraction inducing. But I think he's still not there. But he's a pretty nice looking dude, for sure. Shout out to him for giving me the submission. Yeah. What else do I want to say here? Not much I can say. I know that people say that your neck's width can play a role in your attractiveness. I guess he has some kind of wide neck because it's kind of the same width as his face, right? For someone like me, I feel like my neck is narrower than my face, which makes me less attractive. Because a lot of people have commented on the fact that I should train my neck to become more attractive. People feel like my neck is too narrow. So yeah, I'm just trying to say that this guy seems to have pretty solid neck width. Alright. Okay, and he also gave me a body picture of his. So let's kind of rate it. First of all, his physique is not very defined, as we can all see, right? Like if we take a look at his six-pack area, we don't really see any definition. I think that's just how his body is created. Like that's just how his body looks. It's not because he doesn't train hard enough and shit. I'm sure he probably trains pretty hard, but some people just don't have that kind of six-pack definition. It's kind of like myself. No matter how much I train, my bicep is not going to be very bulging because it just doesn't work like that. It's just very flat by its nature. So this guy, I think his ab genetics is similar. But overall, he can definitely benefit from some more muscle mass. Not to say that it's healthy, because I think you can be pretty unhealthy while having a nice looking body. You can be pretty injured and asymmetrical while having a quote unquote aesthetic and a muscular shredded body. And to me, that's not really healthy. To me, what's more healthy is a body that's upright and symmetrical and decompressed and pain-free. That kind of body without a lot of muscle mass will already look pretty damn attractive and aura-like. And yeah, you are going to function pain-free. You are going to have a healthier looking face because you have a healthier body. Yeah, so that's, in my opinion, more desirable. But if we talk about like muscle mass, this guy can benefit from some more muscle mass if you want to look better with that route, right? I can't really see his body symmetry with this picture right here, so I can't really comment on that. But yeah, muscle mass wise, I think he will look better with more muscles and more definition. Like his chest can look more full, and obviously his abs can be more defined, right? But it's definitely above average, for sure. It's better than my physique. I can say that. I can show you my physique. Check out my body, created by just a solid meat-based whole food diet. I don't really train now. Right now, I just prioritize on massaging my body to make my body more decompressed and symmetrical and pain-free, so I can look more confident and function better and everything. Okay, so his physique, I'll probably also give it a let me give it a 6.5 out of 10. All right, because he has some nice looking tattoos over his chest. Not to say that it's healthy. I think it's not very healthy. You are injecting some toxic chemicals into yourself forever, right? And you are also kind of messing with your body's system. Like there are a lot of vessels, a lot of tubes in your body, and by messing around your system like this, I think it's not very ideal. Yeah, it can kind of affect how your body operates in some way. Maybe you don't really feel it, but it definitely can have some detrimental effects, in my opinion. I'm saying this as a guy that has tattoo himself. Yeah, if I could go back, I wouldn't have gotten it. I would just try to optimize my jawline, how healthy my face looks, and how symmetrical my body is. Work on these areas that exude how healthy I am. I think those are more needle moving instead of just getting some tattoo, but still don't look very healthy overall. That's not really helpful, right? And in my opinion, if you get tattoo, that will kind of slow you down in terms of becoming an overall healthier looking person. Because like I said, this can kind of mess with how your body works, right? So it will make it harder for you to become healthier, in my opinion. Okay, so these are the two pieces of content he gave me for me to rate. And he wanted to clarify that he's not gay, he's straight. He just wanted a rate. So shout out to my guy, Fairrung, if I am not being wrong. Pretty good looking dude. And I want to preface and say that I'm just going to be try to objectively rating the people I'm going to be rating today, and I'm not trying to hate on you all. I respect you guys for having the courage to give me your submission, and what I'm going to be saying in this video is by no means the definite answer. It's just my personal perspective. So if you don't agree with me, I respect you. All right, not saying that I'm right. If you think that you're a giga chat and I'm absolutely incorrect in terms of how I rate people, then I guess you are right. Can't say I'm always right. Right? So let's move on to the next participant. I know I'm probably yapping a little too much. I'll try to control that. I'm just a holistic, a wealth of knowledge, handsome dude with a sharp jawline in progress. Alright? So, yeah. You can let me know what you think. If I'm not being very understandable, if I'm yapping too much, just let me know. And maybe I'll still be myself, right? I can please everyone. Haha. Okay, let's check out the next individual. So it's going to be our boy Carlson's. Alright. So let's take a look at his pictures, starting from this one. First of all, I feel like his eye area is not very symmetrical. Maybe it has to do with his facial expression at the time of taking this picture, but from what I can see, the left side's eye is kind of more compressed and smaller, right, compared to the right side's eye, which is pretty common nowadays. I feel like a lot of people don't have symmetrical eyes. A lot of people nowadays, one of their eyes can be a little, like, what's the word? Just hooded and smaller and shit. I don't know exactly what causes that, but I just have noticed that. Like, some people seem to have bigger black eyeball. Some people seem to have more eyelid covering their eyeballs. Like, there are just a lot of different variations of unsymmetrical eye area. Yeah, so just want to kind of comment on that. And then I think his right face area is a little puffy, right? There seems to be a little more excess fat, especially around the corner of his mouth. Yeah. And he doesn't seem to be very happy. I think a little more, what's the word? Oxytocin, a little more dopamine. What's the word? A little more happiness hormone will be more favorable. Yeah, I don't see a lot of vibrantness in this picture, which kind of lowers his attractiveness, in my opinion. Yeah. Aside from that, not much I can comment on. He seemed to be wearing some solid outfit with some chains, so I'll give him this. And he's in nature. Shout out to this. Pretty solid, supporting his overall health and well-being. And nice looking long hair. Yeah, I think if he wants to look max, he just needs to fun max, and then he can benefit a lot from this. All right, so let's take a look at the next picture. So this picture is a little far, but we can see that his facial bone is not very ideally developed, right? His ramus area is not very vertical, if that's how you guys say it. Like, some people, they have more straight looking side profile, and this guy falls into this kind of category. So for someone like me, or for people that have a very well developed faces, their side profile is going to look more vertical. There's going to be a change of direction, right? But for some people that have less ideally developed facial bone, the side profile is going to look more straight. So this individual falls into this category. I'm sure he's aware of this because this is pretty well understood in the manosphere, in my opinion, and shit. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a pretty big minus for your looks, right? Because um, we, as humans, we just prefer more well-developed faces. Also, it's kind of hard to do something about this kind of makeup, right? Because that's just your development. It's kind of hard to change it unless you do some sort of jaw surgery. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is it's better that we just support a person's development from day one, allowing them to naturally have some pretty well developed faces instead of trying to recover from an underdeveloped face. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at the next picture. So once again, he doesn't seem to be fun maxing, which he can benefit from, in my opinion. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be very happy, but maybe it has to do with his health, right? Obviously, he's not as healthy as he can be from what we were talking about. Like, he didn't develop very ideally, not to be rude. So I think that can reflect on how you feel. If you develop to be a good looking, well developed, tall person, I think by default you are going to have better mental health. Not because how people are going to treat you better. It's simply because when you are better developed and overall healthier, you are simply going to be equipped with better mental health because your body and mind are connected. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm just trying to say that maybe it's kind of understandable. He doesn't feel as happy as he can be. But with all this said, we can still try to feel better by doing this, right? How we feel, we can kind of change it. So yeah, I think he can benefit from fun maxing to become more attractive. And this can actually make him healthier and better looking in the long run, create permanent changes, right? Because when you're happier, you are making yourself healthier. You don't want to be stressed. Stress will deteriorate you. Chronic stress. Yeah. So, yeah, he should, I mean, he can just have more fun here and he will look better. I feel like his body is a little, the proportion is kind of off. Yeah, but maybe his upper body is a little too short. That's kind of what I noticed. The proportion can seem to be improved. Yeah, but just a little thing I want to comment on. Also, I feel like his hair is a little too flat and straight. So that can be a little unfortunate. Let me say this. I feel like it can look more like bulging, for lack of a better word, and curly. That will look better. But yeah, I think overall, if our boy can just try to fun max a little bit, he can really benefit from that. He will look more likable, and I feel like his facial fat can decrease because when you live a happy life, you can lower your visceral fat, and that will make your face look healthier and leaner. All right, so shout out to my friend, our friend Carlson. All right, thank you for the submission. So I've been yapping for 19 minutes already, so I think I will review one more person, and then we will do a part 2, part 3, whatever. All right. So let's check out our next person, dumbbell molester. Why do you have this kind of sexy name, my guy? It's concerning. I understand the word molester as a native Taiwanese who has nothing to do with this kind of vocabulary. Yeah, but my English is just a little too good, so yeah, I still understand it. I think it means you do this to your dumbbell, right? You touch it in a sexual way. So I guess he's a gym cell. Let's take a look at his appearance, alright? So first of all, he seemed to have pretty defined jawline. Yeah, the line is pretty clear, right? Just like this and that. A more square looking angular jawline. But I feel like it's on the longer side. And his masseter area is a little bulging too much, which doesn't give him a very clean definition, in my opinion. So I feel like he can work on his muscle tension. He doesn't seem to have a lot of excess fat on his face. So if he can massage his masseter and his temporalis and his SCM, I think his jawline will look more defined. Yeah. I think he has pretty solid eye area. Nice. And his lips are pretty plump. Yeah. Overall, he has some pretty solid base. I wonder if he got his teeth pulled, or if his whole structure is still intact. Yeah. If he still has his whole structure, then we have a better foundation to work from, right? If his teeth are already cut, then no matter how much you try to optimize yourself, you are still going to be in a compromised state. Yeah, so I hope our fellow right here still has all his beautiful teeth, and then I think he can benefit a lot from massaging his muscles, working on his posture, and optimize his lifestyle a little more. Yeah, because although I said his face is pretty lean now, but there's still room for improvement. I feel like around his lips area, there's still a little bit of excess fat. Yeah, looks like a little bulging, slightly bulging, which we can work on by doing what I was talking about, right? Also, he's wearing like wire earphones, so that's a little plus. So, interesting. I think he is not as attractive as the first guy, although he seemed to have pretty solid potential. So right now I'm going to give him a 5.75 out of 10, I guess. Because if I give him a 5.5, I think it's a little too harsh, too high standard. Right. He seemed to be a chill guy. Wow. I feel like he looks better here. Maybe because of the hairstyle. Also, the goofiness from the lower face area kind of disappeared in this picture, right? In this picture, his face seemed to be pretty ideal. Yeah, and I think he has pretty solid lip area. Yeah. Also, I like how red his face looks. It looks kind of attractive in my opinion. Yeah, solid phenotype. I think if he just work on his jawline definition a little more, it will be very needle moving for him. So our boy needs to hop on myofascial release train with me. Try to improve his muscle quality with me. When I say muscle quality, I'm talking about the texture of your muscle. You want it to not be overly tight and have a ideal kind of consistency. Yeah, solid. My guy gave me a lot of pictures. His face looks a little less developed right here, for some reason. But I like his hairstyle. And his side profile, if we take a look at his ramus, it's not very long. It kind of signals a not fully optimally developed face. So I want to ask if he still has all his teeth and if his teeth are crooked. Hopefully, yeah, like I said, his body is still intact and we have a better foundation to work with, right? I started eating raw at the time the first picture was taken. Interesting. Okay. That kind of explains. He definitely looks healthier in the later pictures. More lively, right? Interesting. Whoa. Yeah, so I think our boy, he already looks pretty in his teenager times, right? So maybe he can still do something about his bone development. So definitely want to really work on your nutrition and just do everything you can. Sleep better, reduce your stress to allow your bone to properly develop so that you have better foundation to work from. And aside from that, just massage your muscles and live healthier. This is just a game of becoming healthier, healthmaxxing. When you health max, you're going to look leaner, have a leaner, healthier looking face with better skin, and muscle quality is also a part of health, right? So when you have healthier muscle quality, your natural definition is going to show. You are not going to have a rounded face, or you are not going to look tired and tense, right? This is all about health maxing, and like once again, when you really optimize your health, you can allow your bone to properly fully develop. So this is just a game of health maxing. Yeah. Okay. So overall, he already has very good potential in my opinion. He just needs to kind of lock in a little more, and then he will be fine. He's already eating raw meat, so yeah, just keep doing what you are doing, and also think about your structural health. Think about how you can not overwork your muscles and massage your muscles to allow yourself to have better quality muscle. That will allow you to have more sharp definition and a more symmetrical body, more pain-free body and shit. That will affect how healthy your face looks and how defined your jawline looks. So keep in mind in terms of that. Yeah, this is less talked about in the manosphere, in my opinion, but it's very needle moving. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stop recording for now. So thank you for these 3 participants. I appreciate you guys joining my little event. All right, because I posted a story on my IG, collecting some followers' pictures and telling them that if you don't have a fragile mind, I'm going to rate you and make a video. So these are some of the participants. I still have quite a few participants to review. So if you enjoy this content right here, just give me all the love you can, all right? And I'll make a part 2, part 3. Yeah. I know when I was talking, maybe in some parts, I wasn't making myself entirely, absolutely understandable. You know, I actually think when I talk, I'm already one of the most understandable people because I don't say buzzwords. I don't say things like, oh, you need to work on your deuterium. You need to, what else? Just people just like to talk about a lot of weird chemicals names to make it sound like they know what they are talking about. But in fact, they are just, no one is knowing what he's talking about, and he doesn't even really know what he's talking about. I try to not do that. I try to talk about more tangible stuff. So, if anything, I'm actually the more understandable person. But with that said, I'm still going to try to make myself more well received. Alright? So, yeah, just apologize in advance if you feel like in some parts I wasn't being all that understandable. I'll try to think more about how I can deliver myself better. Alright? But yeah, show me some love. I'm a non-native speaker. As a Taiwanese, I have no business speaking English this good. I work hard on my English. Alright. Yeah, I was an English maxer as an English teacher. So yeah, don't be too harsh on me. I'm already pretty worth complimenting. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, for submitting, and yeah, shout out to the individuals. You guys are all beautiful in your own way if you are being a nice person, and if you try to improve yourself. All right, and we can always become better person. We can always become a better version of ourselves, including myself. Like, I'm not even that attractive, right? you guys are all more attractive than me. So yeah, but we can all still try to improve ourselves and become a better person. So it doesn't really matter where we are now. It kind of matters, but yeah, you get the idea. All right. The name of the game is just to try to optimize ourselves. Health Max, massage your muscles, guys. Watch my videos. I have filmed a lot of myofascial release protocols that you can just play and follow and ascend. All right, so don't sleep on those. Thank you for joining. No more yapping. Stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. Show me all the love you can. Let's ascend together. I love you.